to talk about prevention. So I Googled what prevention means. And then it's a really weird word when you do like in the rectangle brackets. It's quite funny, actually. Okay, so prevention means effective hindrance. Okay, so it's from the Latin word, which I can't pronounce, but then I saw forestalling, and I've never heard that word. So I clicked on it, and it was like to act beforehand, or to get ahead of, or to anticipate. So when we anticipate problems, we can prevent problems. Okay, we get this. So if you have questions, I'll try and answer them. I promise nothing. Okay, so can anyone tell me why we need to do prevention? So prevention saves us from harm. So when my mom told me about stranger danger and taught me how to kick people in the shin, I was safe. Okay, well, for the most part. Sometimes I get myself into situations. But she would tell me, don't climb in the tree, because that's a preventative measure, because I would climb in the tree and break my arm. Did that more than once. So her telling me was her trying to prevent me from getting hurt. Get that? Okay, cool. Cure cannot cure us completely. So even say a good example would be if someone has cancer, with today's medicine they get chemo, but they're still a little bit sick after they've been cured of cancer. So the remnants of what has happened to us is still there. We still have that scars and all those things. You get that, right? If we take preventions, we become safe. That's the same as the first one. We avoid making mistakes. I think one of the greatest privileges of our life is that we get to make mistakes and learn from them. But then if we can prevent making mistakes, we don't have to learn lessons. Right? Okay, never mind. Okay, it saves money, time, and health. So say with human trafficking, when someone needs to be cured, they have to be put up in a safe house, they have to be fed, they have to be sent to the hospital, they have to be rehabbed, and all those things costs money. And like we said, they're not completely cured ever, because they still have the remnants of whatever illness they got. Say they have AIDS, they got AIDS from having, all the stuff happen to them. They will never be cured completely. So if we can prevent that, we don't have to spend all this time on ARVs and money and stuff to have them be cured. Okay? Cool. And then prevention has the potential to expose root problems. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to develop a prevention plan. Does everyone want to know how to develop a... Yes, that's why you're here. Woo! Yeah. Okay, so number one is review potential problems. So if we look in society, that's what we just did. We see different problems, and obviously everyone is called to different things. Okay, so with us, it's human trafficking. So a lot of things plays a role in human trafficking. So we have to review those problems and get to the root problem before we can actually start dealing with it. Because if we take the root out of something, the whole thing is taken out. So say I get headaches a lot. I know it's because I don't drink water, but then instead of treating the root, I treat the symptom. So I take a pill and the headache goes away, but that's just a symptom of me actually being dehydrated. You get that? So if I drink water, I will prevent myself from having a headache. Okay? So, yeah. We decide the potential cause of the problem. So I just said that, right? I have to explain that one too? Okay, cool. Yes, I'm so glad. Number 3 is we decide an appropriate course of action to stop the problem occurring. So if we decide on a plan, that plan has to be sustainable at the end of the day as well. So if we're going to keep a problem from occurring, the plan has to be sustainable at the end of the day. All right, and you obviously put the plan into action. It's number 4. And then you ensure that the preventive action plan has solved the potential problem. So what's the point of doing a plan if you're not going to solve a problem, right? Okay, so number 1 for doing the plan is you have to analyze data and setting objectives. I'm going to go fast through this because it explains it further on, like through the slides. Okay, So you analyze data and set objectives. You clarify the client, victim, or partner organization requirements. Applying a proven corrective action plan to other areas of the business. Being aware of changes, and then you have to have my words, this English, it's the worst. You have to have a disaster recovery plan. That sounds intense, but it's not actually. Okay, so number one, when I started in 2014, God was like, there's a gap in prevention, because awareness is prevention, but prevention isn't just awareness. You get that? So you can do a lot of awareness, but it's not necessarily all preventative, okay? So we saw a gap in the area of where, I think it's like 21 million people, right, is trafficked through job scams. So if we can kind of prevent them from being trafficked through suspicious job opportunities, they will obviously not be trafficked. That's the plan. So God was like, we need to fill this gap in this area. So he gave us the idea for prevention versus cure. So what it does is, if you see a suspicious job opportunity, you send it to us and we vet it for you, and then we're like, it's a scam, this is a Nigerian prince that wants your money, don't go for it, okay? You get that? So that's prevention versus cure. So I'm gonna apply the plan to prevention versus cure, okay? So we did 6 months of research, and we came to a conclusion that obviously there are certain patterns that are followed when people want to scam other people for their own gain. It's either for sexual gain or monetary gain, pure monetary gain, or they want to exploit children, okay? So, and then we set, when we launched, we set an objective of, I want 100 cases at least in the first year, which was overshot by like 900 because we got over 1,000. So then we were like, okay, we have to do, it's M&E, I think is the word, and be like, okay, so why did we overshoot by that much? You see, if we undershot, it would have been like, we need to do more marketing to spread the word more. But then, because we overshot, we were like, okay, what did we do right to have that happen, and how can we expand at the end of the day to help people more effectively and make the system more effective? All right? You get that? Okay. I'll send you guys the slides if you want. Okay. Give me your email address. Okay. And then we did clarifying client, victim, partner, organization requirements. So for clients, we would be like, okay, so if we get an inquiry in, if it's time sensitive, we like 1 or 2 days, we'll get feedback back to you. So time sensitive cases take priority. And then if not time sensitive, it'll be like tweaks. So it's like a verbal contract kind of thing that we will get back to you at a certain time to tell you if this is a scam or not, okay? So, and if the client would like have additional information, requirements would change. So say there's this one girl right now, she wants to go to a Middle Eastern country to go meet a guy, all right, because she's fallen in love with him over the internet. But now her requirements are different than, say, someone that wants to go au pair in the Netherlands. So she would want to meet with us to hear about the dangers of human trafficking. So her requirements are different than someone, like I said, that wants to go au pair, because the one that wants to go au pair wants to know that the family exists, that the family has kids, that the house they live in is safe, won't fall in on her when she gets there, you know, things like that. So you have to evaluate client requirements. And then, obviously, I don't work with victims that much, so that would change. So for victims, it would be, what do they require when they get into the safe house? How would they benefit from a skills training program? How would they benefit from a bath? How would they want to, they want medical care, or they want counseling or whatever. So you have to evaluate that. Is there any questions? Okay, and then obviously when you partner with other organizations, they usually have you sign a SOP or a MOU, which is like a memorandum of understanding. So with the resource line, Prevention versus Cure has a MOU, which says that we will render these services to you to the best of our abilities. It's just like to have kind of a clarity of what you're going to do for the partner. And then Nee, ek het nou my trein over school. But yeah. So, for Prevention versus Security, it's when we get the email, we like identify requirements immediately. So say this person finds a job offer on Gumtree. It's not we discuss that with the client. It's from the communication that we have with the client that we're like, oh, you need to make sure that this company exists. You need to make sure that the salary is what they say it is. You need to have a contract, that kind of thing. So for a business like, say, ShopRite, it would be different because it'll be like, this is what the consumer needs. They need bread, that's a more like you go into the community and find out, like, this is what you need in your shops. So it's different it's different for different organizations. If we have a partner organization in the Netherlands or wherever the person's going, I would email them and ask them, hey, would you mind, go checking this out? So, but it depends on, but otherwise it's easy to see, like, because everyone puts everything on social media, it's easy to see if someone's lying. So we had this one freak from, I think it was the UK. Am I allowed to say freak in church or something? There was this one guy from the UK, and he wanted an au pair, but I went to check out his Facebook. He had no friends at all. And I feel like if you're a new dad, because in his communication to the girl, he had said that he's a new dad and he is proud of his family and he brags about, that kind of narcissistic kind of, I almost said a really bad word right now. Shoo, dankie Heilige Gees. So went on his Facebook, he had no friends, he wasn't social at all, went on his Twitter, he was freakish, like stuff that he said, and posted pictures of kids that shouldn't be on the internet, and things like that. So you can get a sense of what someone's like. What was your question? Did I answer it? Okay. Where was I? I'm sorry. my brain goes kadoof sometimes. Okay. Did I cover partner organizations? Okay, great. Woo. Next slide. Okay. So corrective plans is just a fancy way to say, I have messed up a bit and I need to make it right. Okay. How would you apply that to human trafficking?
Way back when we started in Potchefstroom, people said that they wanted to volunteer with us in this prevention against human trafficking. And so we would go to interview them. But way back, we were all very busy, so I went the one day to this one person's house. I was very stupid. I didn't think about this very clearly. So I entered his house. It's a man. He's older than me. And everything just feels, when you speak to someone, your spirit is just like, hoo-ah, hardloop, ouwens, hardloop. So I was feeling like this the whole time, but the guy is, he's behaving himself, and I'm like, no, something's not right here. I don't know what it is, but something's not right here. And so getting out of that, I spoke to the other team members and I said, okay, we made a mistake. We did not think about this. We are not being safe. We need to implement a new plan and say from now on, if we go to interview anyone, we need to be at least 2 people. And we need to make sure we're not alone in someone's house. That's not a good idea, so it has to be public ground. So we implemented a new plan and we are doing things in a better way from then forward. I don't know if that is answering your question.
All right. Obviously, in human trafficking and technology and prevention, there's a lot of changes that happen really quickly. So numbers change and stats, obviously numbers and stats are the same thing, but that changes quite a bit. So if my friend develops a new app, I need to be aware of that so that I can assist someone that's trapped, or how to get someone out effectively, or how to help someone effectively. Yeah, it's it's always good to be aware. I don't know why we always question that, like why we need to remind people of being aware of changes that happen. You need to be aware of changes with your kids. You need to be aware of changes with your parents and your family and all that. So being aware of new technology for prevention is a really good thing, because like say Thorn spoke about this earlier with the technology thing, is with their initiative they've saved like almost 6,000 kids from human trafficking in the technological sphere. So if you can actually be aware of the new technology that's available and you can sow into that, at the end of the day you'll get a reward from that, you know. And then obviously do quality management. So if you're not aware of the new technologies that's available in your area of expertise, you're going to become irrelevant really fast. So you're going to become irrelevant really fast, and you're going to be, someone else is going to do your job at the end of the day. So especially if you want, all organizations' goal at the end of the day should be to go out of business. Because if you go out of business, it means that the problem has been eradicated. So if stops doing what we're doing, it means that human trafficking has been eradicated. You know, that should be the goal. But now charities are all like about the money and all that. Stop is not. We're broke. Anyway, but it's like if you have a niche thing that you can do, like say with Prevention versus Cure, if Stop goes out of business, we can all come work for Prevention versus Cure, because there will always be scams and there will always be Nigerians to scam people. You know? Do you get that? Like, who hasn't gotten the Nigerian Prince email? Everyone has gotten it. Have you replied? It is the funniest thing. Go check out James Veach. He replies to spam emails. It's hilarious. Anyway, so do quality management and do constant research to see how you can improve your business. So like, or your organization. So like Prevention versus Cure right now is looking into developing apps so people can do basically their own prevention. So I'm not going to give you the idea because then you'll steal it. But we're always looking into new ways to assist people, and there's always new websites popping up that assist us in, identifying scams and stuff like that. We have a cybercrimes unit. They won't talk to you when you go to the police station, so don't ask them. I sat at Durbanville police station for 6 hours wanting to talk to someone. But they do have a cybercrimes unit, but they are so busy because it's rife. But then the Hawks also they've got a cybercrimes team as well. You won't expect that from Africa, right? It's like, we don't have internet here. Psst. Anyway, any other questions? No? Okay. So the thing, like, I always get so peeved with people because they're like, teenagers are so... But it's like, teenagers... It's that stigma we put on them. So like when you turn 13, you should be horrible. And that's not right. But I love it when people spend time with their kids when they're really little. Because when they're little and they spend time with them in the formative years, the kids actually start to trust them. And then they would want to spend time with their parents in the teenagers, when they are teenagers. Like I would never spend time with my dad because he would never spend time with me, and I don't trust him because I don't know him, you know? So first thing is speak to the parents about spending time with their kids, because when they spend time with their kids, the teenagers will spend time with them, and then the teenagers will trust them with everything in their hearts. So prevention starts with the parents, okay? In the family unit, and that's why family is so important to God, is because that unit should be protected, and that's why Satan's doing everything that he can to destroy that and making it so weird these days. I mean, look at that guy that's famous, and now he's like a woman. It's weird. Have you heard him talk? It freaks me out. It's like, you see, this woman is like, hello. Anyway, so Jesus loves him. Okay, so what I tell teenagers all the time is learn how to love yourself really well, because if you learn how to love yourself really well, you won't really you want that need filled by someone over the internet or whatever. And then the internet comes into play and you're like, that stuff. And then I look at teenagers' social profiles and I'm like, yeah, something's wrong at home, because they're like skimpy dressed, scantily dressed on the. So don't overexpose yourself on social media, because that's what they look for. And there's another like general thing on Facebook. If you go to settings and you go to the blocked link and you type in that little type B block following me, you'll find like I block 37 people every week that's following me that I don't even know about. So they can literally see everything that I do online, even though they're not my friend. Okay? So that's the first thing I would tell teenagers is don't overexpose yourself on the internet. But obviously everyone wants attention, so that's what they... Yeah. But they like have to do that regularly. That's so annoying, because you have that follow thing on your profile. So people, like, every time I go on, there's like people with like that scribble names with the dots, like Arabic things. Yeah. So first thing and foremost would be the social media thing, because they're all over social media, and Instagram as well. Nadia? Ja, dingetjie om te sê daar oor die tienertjies.
Okay, so I just wanted to share a few things. I think Bertha's presentation was very well written. That was not what I wanted to say. So getting into prevention, I feel that it's very important that we must remind ourselves to be teachable and flexible. So many times we are leaders in the church where we are, and then we want to do something, we approach people, but we actually bulldoze them, and they just close off. So starting in anything we want to do, build relationships at first. It's very important. So if you have forum meetings in your area, go attend that. Build relationships with the police, with the NPA, with DSD, with anyone who attends other NGOs. Go, build relationships. You don't have to say anything at first. You just sit there, you listen. They learn to get to know your face. Then they know you're trustworthy, you're loyal. They start liking you. They start inviting you to events, and then the doors open. And you can start with your ideas. But if you go in like a bull, many times you do more damage than you do good, and the doors close for you, unfortunately, in the community. So it's important to remember to stay flexible, to stay teachable, and always make ways for new people to join you. So we also sometimes feel threatened when new people come in, because we had this wonderful idea. It's like our baby, and we have this passion in our heart, and then when someone new comes, we feel you're encroaching on my territory, or you're hurting my baby, or you're taking the shine away. We don't necessarily think this out loud, but it's somewhere in our hearts. So we just have to check our hearts regularly and make way for new people, because many times they bring a different perspective that just makes the ball roll so much better. Or they have contacts, and it opens doors for us that we ourselves could not open. And again, coming back to the corrective action idea, we don't need to reinvent the wheel again. So we can learn from other people's mistakes. So how to be safe. If you start something up, whatever it is, your prevention plan, and it fails or something doesn't work, you don't have to be so downcast about that. You don't have to feel like you're a failure. So you just go back, you look at your plan, you learn from what other people did. Many times people talk about what they did wrong. You can go, make an appointment, sit with someone. If it's in a different region, that's fine. If it's in your own region, all the better. And you talk to them, you say, I've encountered this, how did you handle it? How did you get to where you are? You learn from them, you incorporate that. It makes you stronger, it just makes it easier to do your prevention work. So yeah, it's okay to adapt. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean your idea was not good. God gave the body parts. So when we have an idea, it doesn't have to all originate from us. We take from others, we incorporate. It makes us stronger. And I feel like the other thing Bertha said about self-love. She said about self-love. And I feel that as a church, it's important that we build into the children in our church. So sometimes we don't really have a natural love for the kids in the church, or we don't really have a connection point. So make a point about speaking to them. getting to know them, building into their lives, because in the church, that is the right place to build up the identities in Christ. Many times they fall victim to traffickers because they have a big gaping hole. They don't know what love is. They don't know what a real relationship looks like. They don't know what right love is, what the right relationship is. They don't know a lot of things. But in the church, we can talk about this. It's a safe space. So we show that. We get to know them. We talk to them. If they look down, we ask about that. They are people, even if they're small people. And that's where they learn accountability. So someone sees I'm not okay, they ask me about it. So I can say, I had this bad day, my maatjie by die school, they don't talk to me anymore. And then you can give advice or just love on them, just walk around with them. Because if we can in the church be their safety net and catch these kids before they fall prey to traffickers, that would be ideal. And many times they slip through the cracks because we are so busy with our own things, if we have work, if we have family, if we have children, that we don't focus on the other children in the church. But that's an easy place to start. You don't need to go to a school to find kids. If you're part of the body of Christ, they're right there. So you just talk to them and you just start building in and praying about how you can build up character, how you can build up identity so that they can connect in with Jesus, and whatever comes, they are soundly and firmly grounded in Christ. Yes. And then Bertha wants to say something.
I just want to give some ideas for prevention. I already said like a lot of stuff that we do is prevention, but there's this thing in the Cape Flats where the kids couldn't go to school because the gang violence was so rife. So the parents were like, well, no, the kids need to go to school. So they would walk the kids to school. And that's a really simple thing that you can do. Like, I think it should come out of the church. And that adult that walks with the kids can also be a safe person in that community that the kids go to when stuff at home isn't right. Or, thank you. When stuff at home isn't right, or they need to talk to someone about whatever's going on in their hearts or whatever, that's a good idea to prevent them from being taken. You know, it's such a simple thing. Walk with me, you know, or start a girls group and invest active life, like every week invest life into certain girls, or, you know, start a book club to teach kids how to read and educate them at the end of the day, or, you know, whatever you can think of which seems to, like, you think, it's a stupid idea. It can be very simple but so effective. Prevention starts at home. If you have a father and you have a mother, there's obviously extenuating circumstances, but if you build into your child, like, this is the way a man should treat you, this is the way a woman should treat you, this is how a family dynamic works, this is how you do life. And obviously you're going to make mistakes because we do that, but prevention actually starts at home. That's just the crux of it.
But do you go to schools and like show videos to kids and like shock them into realizing it's like when they did that whole thing that people realize, oh, this is they're being perfect now. You guys have like something like you go to schools and you show it to the kids and they suddenly get awareness and kind of
We try not to shock the kids because we try to we go to schools and we have 2 programs, Valuable to Jesus and Traffic Proof. So the Valuable to Jesus is for the little ones. So it's more like, I love my ba, you know that. And so that's, yeah, okay. So they do Traffic Proof, the little ones in Potch, because those kids are more like animals. I'm kidding. No, but we do Valuable to Jesus. That's to like have them like be aware of no one should touch you and stuff like that. And then Traffic Proof is for the high school kids, Nadia. So I like the shock factor with them, but then like give them also tools to be aware of what they should and shouldn't do and things like that. Yeah.
But mostly they aren't really shocked when that happens. So we went to school now the previous quarter, and so we did 2 programs for them. The first one is Traffic Proof, the second one is Safety Tips. And then we go in Traffic Proof and we trick them, we traffic them. But then the kids we take out, we say, listen, this is just for explaining things. You are not really trafficked. We're not bad people, and they're fun with it. Then we come back a week later, and we trick them again. And they're like, they didn't learn anything. So with the little ones, it feels like you have to just repeat. But every time we go, we hope that we reach another one. So when you do the programs, they're not like so shocked, they're traumatized and burst out crying. Sometimes they come with a revelation, and you have to handle this disclosure in the right way, going to a social worker and taking it to court and everything. But mostly, they just enjoy the show, and you hope something sticks. So, yeah.
We went to Piketberg last year and 2 years before, and we shared the stranger danger thing of if a car stops next to you and they call you to the car, don't go, and don't accept sweets, and don't, all that, you have to mention every single situation, because if you say don't take sweets, they will take a hamburger. So, yeah, so I think of every single thing that can be said to them. So we spoke to 4 schools in a row, 2 high schools and 2 primary schools, and we told them about don't accept gifts from strangers in cars or even in the street, and they want to talk to you, don't have to talk to anyone. And we mentioned that the sweet story. And then the next day, a teacher called, and 4 different children from different areas in Piketberg told her the same story, what happened to them, and they were not together. 4 different occasions the next day where a stranger stopped, offered them sweets, and they remembered what we said and they ran away. So 4 children that we know of, we prevented from trafficking. And then there was a teenager who spoke to the social. No, she wrote to our information web email address on our Facebook page, telling us that a policeman phoned her on a personal cell phone. He knew. There was a person pretending to be a policeman. He said he's from another different town, but he works at the police station now. And then he said he knows what sport she takes, what time it is, where she lives, everything. He got all the information from Facebook, so he wanted to see her urgently about something. He wanted to meet her. So she didn't, after we've been there, she recognized that there's a situation, and she went to the police station and she asked if there was a person like that working there, and they said, no, there's not a person. So she asked me what to do. So I said, don't answer the telephone and go to your social worker immediately and report it. And I also wrote to her. And she took care of it. So there must always be, if you go to a place, there must always be someone that can follow up when you are not there. So seeing that you're from Piketberg, I was reminded of that incident. And that is prevention. That is how we know it works. Prevention saves lives.